Good evening and welcome to the 32nd Annual State Bar of Wisconsin Member Recognition Celebration. Thank you for joining us. My name is Ryan Poe Gavlinski, and I will be your MC this evening as we honor many people within the legal industry. And today, we also honor Juneteenth, a day that commemorates the end of slavery in the United States and celebrates the strength, resilience, and contributions of African Americans. Since 1993, the State Bar of Wisconsin members have been gathering to honor and celebrate the contributions of our members and volunteers to the legal community. Nominations are solicited and awards are given by committees, divisions, and sections of the State Bar. In addition, the Wisconsin Association of Legal Administrators have an award being presented today. With so many accomplished individuals receiving awards today, my introductions for each will be brief. If you would like to read more information about each award winner, please scan the QR code available on each of your tables and throughout the room, or you can visit the State Bar website after the event. Now, I'd like to introduce Chief Justice Ann Walsh-Bradley to present the opening remarks for our celebration, as well as our first few awards. Justice.
On occasion, I start my remarks with this phrase, and this is such an occasion, and that is, this is a time to celebrate. Let us rejoice and be glad, right? Amen. What a wonderful event to honor people who are so deserved to be focused on and to be highlighted for their efforts in our system of justice. We're assembled here, I think, not merely to present accolades, of course, but to acknowledge the unwavering commitment, the exceptional talent, and the selfless service that signifies all of the awardees this year. In a profession that frequently demands extensive hours and rigorous work, it's imperative that we pause to recognize those individuals who elevate the standards of justice. Now, there's not a lot of perks being Chief Justice. There are a few. But there's one perk tonight that I insisted on, and that is I wanted to give the awards to the two judges who are the recipients. I called them, I'm part of the bench bar committee, which of course selects the judicial awardees, and I called each of the two judges that you will hear from tonight to tell them that they had received the award. And their nominations and the papers that supported those nominations were really marvelous. So tonight, the first award goes to my longtime friend, Barbara Key. Judge Barbara Key, do you want to come on up, Barbara? I'm going to... I'm going to have you stand right here. Now, I'm not going to do, the next one is Chad Hendy. I'm not going to do the same thing with Chad just because I have, come here just a moment. I have a reputation to maintain, but I'm going to put my arm around Barbara. That's okay. So first, the Lifetime Jurist Award is conferred upon a jurist whose distinguished career has been characterized by an unwavering commitment to justice, fairness, and the rule of law. And Barb, that's you. This year, the award goes to the Honorable Barbara Key, Judge Key, your trailblazing tenure on the bench exemplifies judicial temperament, intellectual rigor, administrative creativity, that's for sure, and above all, an unwavering dedication to public service. Barb, I love you, and congratulations. Now, I think, she says a few words. Do you want to say a few words?
I guess, yeah, thank you. Wow, that's quite an introduction. Thank you, Chief Justice. I love saying Chief Justice. And thank you first and foremost for your leadership and support over the years and friendship. I will always value that. Thank you to all here. Thank you to the Bench and Bar Committee. It's an incredible honor. I just don't know what else to say. It is so incredibly gratifying. All I can do here tonight, though, is just thank everyone. First and foremost is my family, my husband, Jeff, the rock of the family, who has taken care of us in many ways. I failed to mention one of the things, Justice Bradley, I wanted to mention is how she paved that way for those of us women in the 80s and 70s, 80s, trying to figure out this thing about these types of careers and having families. Well, I couldn't have had a better husband to help through this whole career. With that, our kids, our oldest is at sea somewhere with the Navy in the Pacific. Our son, Brian, when I was elected, he was in kindergarten, and his kindergarten teacher said he was the best campaigner she had ever seen. And Emma was a whole 1 year old when I took the bench. So it's been a few years. And as well, my niece, Shelley, who was the one who did the everything wherever you had to get somebody and nobody else could get him, and she was running around town, and she still does that. Thank you, Shelley. And my brother Ron and his wife Debbie and my daughter-in-law Gabby all are here in support, and I thank you so much. In terms of the I would like to, at this point, thank and also congratulate, though, the awardees that are all getting their awards tonight, because you are the ones moving this forward, and it's something for which it's just an honor for me to say, hopefully, the groundwork we continue to work on, and you are now bringing it forward in terms of that justice and that service to others. Judge Hendy, thank you so much, and for your collegiality. We've certainly worked together as well, and your work in the drug court now. Our judges here now from our county who are moving this forward, mediation, Judge Rust, mental health court, Judge Gibbs, drug court, Judge Kaberlein, and previous drug court and all kinds of administrative things, and juvenile court, Judge Jorgensen, as well as, and I have to say, my valued friend who has helped me so many times through the way and through this whole endeavor, Judge Seifert, who was also involved in the juvenile court for years as well. You're bringing it forward, and that's something that I see all of those awardees that are getting recognized tonight. You're doing that too, that it's constantly moving in that area of further trying to help that lady justice, giving justice for all, and also giving your public service, which you're all doing. I just am so proud of what everyone here does. One thing I did have to note too, there's one other person that's in our group that I haven't mentioned yet, and that's Vicki Belke, who was my judicial assistant for 16 years. She was my rock at the office, trust me. But one thing she always told me when I'd take on another assignment, when someone would call to ask this or that or give a speech or do some education program or whatever, she'd say, "Judge, just say no." And, well, I hope it's okay, Vicki. I didn't say no to them all, okay? Okay, thanks. So with that, thank you so much to the entire bench bar committee and all here. And one thing I got to tell you, too, is this was more stressful and took more time to present a 2-minute plus whatever talk right now than a 90-minute presentation at the Judicial College.
Thanks, Barb. We next recognize outstanding person, and that is the Judge of the Year. That's quite an accolade. Where are you, Chad? The Judge of the Year recognizes a jurist who has demonstrated exceptional leadership and commitment to justice over the past recent year. Tonight we recognize the Honorable Chad Hendy. And Judge Hendy, we congratulate you for this honor, which acknowledges your leadership and strengthening, of course, Marquette County's treatment court program. You're a legend there already. And fostering collaboration with law enforcement and building really a lasting culture of recovery and support. So if you will come forward, please, and we will present to you the award. It's my honor to do so.
Wow. Everybody's going to say they're humbled, but I really shouldn't be up here. So I truly feel that, because there are so many amazing judges throughout the state. To be named the Judge of the Year is beyond humbling. It really is. And I have to say, for Judge Key, where'd you go? There you are. She is an amazing judge. And after she retired, she was a reserve. And I'll tell you very quickly, October of 23, I'm sitting in an emergency room at 3 o'clock in the morning. Whew, sorry. I'm also known as a crying judge, so be careful. And Judge Key was in Marquette County at 8:30, helping me out, covering. So she's an amazing lady who I appreciate. So as far as when the chief called me, I have to admit I didn't answer. But I called her right back. I called her right back. And she said, Chad, I have to tell you, most people that win your award have been on the bench a lot longer than you. And I thought to myself, I may have peaked a little too early here. I guess it's all downhill from here. But no, I appreciate everyone. I appreciate the committee for considering me and selecting me, obviously. And I can't say thank you enough, because it isn't truly an honor that there are so many amazing judges that I know haven't received this, and I don't take that lightly. But I also know that I'm getting this a lot of it because of our treatment court program. And for those of you who haven't experienced treatment court yet, or have not been able to be part of something, seek it out. It is truly one of the most amazing things I've experienced in my career. And it's about a team. And I'm honored that my team is here tonight. But I have to ask, or I have to thank several people, and hopefully I get through this, because I always keep everybody crying, because I get emotional at treatment court, because it's a big deal, right? In fact, we have one of our graduates who now works for our county as a peer sports specialist here tonight. It's a big deal, right? So I can't start off without thanking my staff, my court reporter Jill and J.A. Mariah. They would kill me if I didn't say their names, actually. So no, as you all know, they keep the judges rolling, so I truly appreciate them. The entire treatment court team is here, and they didn't have to be, and I value them very, very much, and appreciate all the work they do, because I realize I'm up here because of that, but they are the ones who make me look good. So whatever honors we get as a program really are because of them. So I thank them for being here. I also appreciate that my dad is here. Young 89 years old. I appreciate that you are here, my dad, and my in-laws, who we would not have been able to move to Marquette County without. Also my brother-in-law, who made the trip from Chicago, and then my kids. I'm very, very proud of them. That's where it goes. Finally, my wife, a much better attorney than I ever was, or ever will be. And the reason I'm up here, I caught wind she was putting me up for this, and I told her, please don't. and I lost that argument as well. No, but she makes me better, and she's my everything. So I am truly honored by this, and still am waiting for the call saying it was a mistake still. But I truly appreciate it, and congratulations to everyone who is receiving awards tonight. Thank you.
When you introduce yourself to the Chief Justice and she says, by the way, I'm giving these 2 awards, all the attorneys in the room know you just say, yes. So thank you for taking those first 2 awards. All right, and moving on with our program, the Diversity and Inclusion Oversight Committee presents the Diversity and Inclusion Trailblazer Award. This award celebrates an individual who contributes to and enhances diversity and inclusion within the Wisconsin legal profession. Attorney T.R. Williams, would you like to come up? Attorney Williams brings decades of cross-sector leadership to her work. She is currently the principal and owner of TRW Consult 414 LLC. In addition to her professional accomplishments, Williams generously shares her expertise, serving on many boards. In every position, Williams has focused on expanding access, building equity, and challenging institutional norms. Please join me again in honoring Attorney Williams.
Thank you so much. I was in the country of Kenya on the continent of Africa when I heard this story. That in the animal kingdom, if you do not know, it is the lioness, not the lion, that does the hunting. We don't know why, maybe because the lioness is more intelligent, more athletic, more strategic, it's unclear, but it's the lioness. And so sometimes in a pride, the lioness has to go outside of their normal bounds to find prey when it's particularly scarce. And so sometimes that lioness may bring an older lion with them on this hunt. And that lion will be big with a huge head, a gigantic mane, and a huge roar, but no teeth. So they'll bring that lion with them, they'll traverse outside of their lane, and when they find that prey, in the magic of the animal kingdom, the lioness will be on one side of the prey, while the big lion with the huge mane, the gigantic roar, and no teeth is on the other side. And at just the right moment, that lion with the big mane, the huge roar, and no teeth will yell out, give that roar, and the prey will do what's logical, what's reasonable, what sounds safe, what thinks safe, and they would run in the opposite direction of the roar, right into where the lionesses are ready to pounce on their prey and have lunch. I share this story because oftentimes what feels the scariest, the hardest, and sometimes the safest for us is actually what we need to do the opposite of. And so to all my colleagues of the bar, to those that are in this room, I encourage you during these times that we are in to run towards the roar. As Timothy Snyder would say, do not obey in advance. Work at the top of your license in your practice. And as Audre Lorde says, I have come to believe over and over again that what is most important to me must be said, spoken, and made verbal, even at the risk of having it bruised or misunderstood. Thank you to the bar. Thank you to my family and friends who are here to support me, including those that still call me Tori. I am very humbled and honored. I appreciate you.
The Wisconsin Lawyer Charles Dunn Author Award is presented by the State Bar of Wisconsin Communications Committee. Each year, the committee recognizes writing excellence in the publication. This award was named in honor of Wisconsin's first Supreme Court Chief Justice. The 2025 award goes to Timothy Edwards and Haley Rich Noble, who co-wrote a two-part article, Discovering and Admitting AI Data in the State and Federal Courts. This was in the November and December 2024 issues of the Wisconsin Lawyer magazine. If you haven't read it, I definitely suggest you go back and read it. Attorney Edwards is a litigation attorney with a solo practice in Fitchburg, and an attorney Rich Noble is with Godfrey & Kahn in Madison. In reviewing the article, a communications committee member wrote, "Many people in our profession do not have time to dive deep. So it is important to highlight articles, especially articles that are credible, well-written, well-sourced, and keep our readers up to date on important advances in technology." Please join me in honoring both Attorney Edwards and Attorney Rich Noble.
A lot smaller than the other one. All right, I am humbled. So I just wanted to say a few things, and the first thing I wanted to do was just acknowledge how cool it was to see a judge get up here and share his tears with us. Because to me, authenticity is a core value that we need to start embracing more in our profession. And seeing that really touched my heart, and I love that. A few things to say. I'm not going to cry. This is just an article about discovery, but all right. So here's the deal. I prepared a PowerPoint for this. And are we ready to set that up? I got kind of confused. I thought I was the keynote speaker, and I was planning on doing a 2-hour presentation where I expressed my appreciation for this award through haiku poetry and iterative dance. And song. But I guess that's off the table with the 2-minute limit. But I just wanted to tell you I was prepared to do that. If you want to talk to me about that later, let me know. It's my life story from birth to this point. All right, so without doing that, I want to say a few things really quick. About 20 years ago, I saw a storm coming, and that was with the issue of electronic data. You could just see it coming over the horizon, and then the sanctions started to pile up against lawyers who didn't understand what to do. And I just figured out I'm going to get in front of this, and I've studied it ever since, and it's just a fascinating topic. I've taught it at the law school. I write a lot about it. And I think there is another storm here, and that's AI, and I think it's a big one. And I encourage everybody to think ahead about what's coming, because this is going to change the landscape of discovery and litigation in ways that I can't even imagine yet. Our article touches the surface. That's it. That's it. So this is really fascinating stuff for me, and if you've read the article, I appreciate that very much. I want to give a shout out to the diversity table. I really, really appreciated that story that you told. That was totally cool. I love that stuff. And the only other thing I want to say is that I kind of had a resentment towards the bar for quite a while, and I need to air this out. A few years ago, I wrote an article about the admissibility of electronically stored information, and I was convinced that I would get this damn award. And I didn't. I got honorable mention. And so after a lot of therapy and some other things, I've been able to come around and make peace with that. And I told my co-author, Haley, at the very beginning, I said, we're getting this damn award. I did. It was the first words out of my mouth. So anyway, all I want to do is introduce Haley, who actually did the legwork on this. She did a wonderful job. She was a student of mine. and we just connected together and worked on this article, and it was really a rewarding experience for me. And she is an incredibly bright and competent young lawyer, and I am very, very proud of her. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much. I'll keep it brief, but obviously I want to thank my co-author and professor and mentor throughout this whole experience, Timothy Edwards. Being a 3L in law school and learning all about AI in the nebulous world of e-discovery, it was something that really scared me. And to see someone so passionate and willing to take on the scary things that are ahead and look into it and dive deeper into it and really just embrace it with all that you have, that was very inspiring to me as I start my career as a lawyer. And so I really encourage that any law professor that finds a project that a student can get involved in and sink their teeth into, this was something that really, for me, not only kickstarted my career, but really allowed me to feel that confidence going into my first year as an attorney. So I want to thank you, Professor Edwards. I want to thank every single professor that ever gave an opportunity or took an extra second to explain something and dive a little bit deeper, because those experiences really help when you're first coming into the world as an attorney. I want to thank my family for being here, my mom back there with the camera, and my husband. Thank you so much for the support, not only through just my first few months as being a lawyer, but through law school, through everything. As everyone knows, that's not a really easy experience. It doesn't bring out the best in everybody. So I'm really grateful. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
The Legal Assistance Committee Pro Bono Awards are given to an individual and organization which have demonstrated dedication to the development and delivery of legal services to the poor, or contributed significantly toward developing innovative ways to deliver volunteer legal services. Attorney Sarah Johnson is the recipient of the Pro Bono Attorney of the Year Award. As a former general counsel who focused on corporate and securities law, Attorney Johnson has enjoyed spending her retirement learning litigation, consumer debt defense, and Microsoft Power Automate, while supporting Legal Action of Wisconsin's mission to deliver exceptional civil legal services and structural change advocacy free of cost to those most in need. Please join me in honoring Attorney Johnson.
Wow. I am so honored to receive the Pro Bono Attorney of the Year Award. Looking at all the attorneys who have preceded me in getting that award, but all of you tonight, I know we're using the word humbling a lot, but it truly is humbling and incredibly meaningful as well. So as she said, my background is actually in corporate and securities law. I spent 20 plus years learning and reading statutes like the Investment Company Act of 1940. You can imagine that this is not useful in pro bono work at all. It's not the kind of training that when I called up a legal action, they said, wow, yeah, that'd be really helpful to us. So, you know, here I am. But every time I volunteer with legal action or sit in a clinic and think about how we can try to make the processes more efficient, automate the workflows, I am learning amazing, amazing things alongside the most dedicated, brilliant public interest lawyers that tirelessly fight for justice, stand up for civil rights, advocate for their clients, who sometimes don't otherwise have someone advocating for them. It's unbelievably inspiring. So unfortunately, my family couldn't be here tonight, but I do want to thank them for always supporting me when I try something kind of wild and kind of new for me. So I appreciate that. I really appreciate all the assistance, mentorship, training, willingness to listen to all of my really, really basic litigation questions that Legal Action and all the folks there do every day when I volunteer with them. Lisa, Maggie, Abrielle, Marlene, they're just an amazing, amazing group of individuals. My fellow volunteers have also been incredibly helpful, mentoring me, teaching me what I need to know to help it day after day. And also, I really appreciate that they've been willing to allow me to try out some of this new Microsoft automation tools. Again, I had no background, but I knew we needed more efficiency, more automation. So ultimately, all of the folks who do this day in, day out have time to really dedicate to their clients versus spending their time doing some of the administrative work that, of course, has to be done. So I would say thank you again to Legal Action. It's a tremendous, tremendous organization. If you're thinking about pro bono work and you haven't jumped in yet, I'd say jump in. Because if you're like me, you don't have to have much of a background. You can learn it. There's tremendous resources out there for you to learn it. And whatever skills, whatever time you can commit to that work, it really is amazing, amazing work that you will yourself be rewarded for, but also obviously give back to our community. And you might even find, like I did, that it is, again, not just incredibly rewarding, but it's a lot of fun. So it may be the most meaningful part of your legal career. And thank you again for this award. Appreciate it.
wislawhelp.org is receiving the Pro Bono Organization of the Year Award. Superheaded by Judicare Legal Aid, wislawhelp.org has transformed the way people connect with legal assistance. This innovative platform functions as a statewide triage and referral system, making it easier and more efficient for individuals to assess the legal help they need. It simplifies the process of finding legal aid by providing clear, user-friendly access to resources and referrals for a variety of legal issues, including housing, family law, consumer rights, and more. Please join me in honoring wislawhelp.org. Attorney Beth Ann Richland, Executive Director of Judicare Legal Aid, will be accepting the award.
I'm probably the crying executive director, so we're going to go with thanking first. Thought about that a lot, even before Judge Hendy mentioned it. We are accepting this award, but it takes a village, and it took a very large village to make this happen. We had a very dedicated stakeholder committee, and I actually want to name them all, the organizations, but to thank them because we couldn't have done it without them. And one of our largest thanks, of course, goes to Legal Action of Wisconsin. They not only were part of our original stakeholder committee, but they harnessed the power of their volunteer lawyers, one of which you just heard from. We were very much supported by the Legal Assistance Committee of the State Bar, Lift Wisconsin, Marquette Volunteer Legal Clinic, the Milwaukee Justice Center, the Wisconsin Law Library, the Wisconsin Access to Justice Commission, the Wisconsin Equal Justice Fund, and the UW Law Library. And that committee has been meeting religiously to keep making sure that this project goes forward, that the funding continues, and that the content that we're developing is well vetted, it is helpful, it is user-friendly, and that the tools that we continue to make are going to make a difference for pro se litigants across the state of Wisconsin. And we're very proud of that. And I also want to give just special shout out to Quarles and Brady, who has donated a lot of volunteer time also to vet these articles. In addition to a lot of individual volunteer attorneys, harnessing the power of that large firm has really been essential to making sure that the project doesn't stall. And then the Wisconsin Trust Account Foundation, who believed in us in a way, but we're skeptical about what this could do and how many people that this could reach. And I'm glad that we persuaded them and that they are a very proud partner and that they continue to work with us to raise money to fund the ongoing development of this site. And personally, this is my crying part, but I was a very young attorney on the Legal Assistance Committee at the State Bar, and I wanted to do something crazy. I wanted to start an online legal advice project. And the executive director of my organization at the time was a very wonderful woman named Rosemary Albert. She was about 70 years old at the time. And I was like, look, I'm going to give people legal advice on the internet. And she was like, you are not, in fact, going to do that. And I worked really hard to persuade her, and she let me do it. And I started this very innovative project with the 10th District called the Northern Wisconsin Legal Advice Project that now has a much better, larger successor called Wisconsin Free Legal Answers. And I said to my colleague at the bar at the time, Jeff Brown, I said, Jeff, people keep asking the same questions over and over again. We should have a site. And he said, you know what, Beth, we already dreamed up this site. And the site's going to have this, and it's going to have that. And I was like, how come this site hasn't happened? And for many years, Jeff and I went to the bar, and the bar supported our idea. And we were very persistent. They gave us money every year in the budget. And it just needed a champion. It just needed somebody to pick it up and take it across the line. And I was never in the position to do that myself. I was a young legal aid attorney, giving that scandalous legal advice online. And in May of 2020, I became the executive director of Judicare Legal Aid. And I thought, I can do this. I have a place of power to make this happen. We can raise money. And along comes a young attorney who says, I worked at this really cool place in Michigan called MichiganLawHelp.org. And I said, we're all here. We are assembled. The power team is here. And we are going to make this happen. And I really want to thank you, Jeff Brown, because you were essential in the success of this project and ongoing. And you continue to be now in your role at WISTAF. And I really do think that without your support, this never would have happened. And we are so grateful. And we know that this tool is going to be amazing. It's going to continue to develop. And I hope that you will go and check it out. I hope you will refer people to it who you cannot help in civil legal cases. And I hope if you think that there's something wrong with it, that you tell us. Because we want to have a project that every lawyer in Wisconsin can be proud of. And that can help every Wisconsin resident navigate the courts when there aren't enough lawyers, there aren't enough, assistance to help them. But we are very grateful for the award, and we appreciate it. We hope it elevates our site and that you go and check it out.
The Public Interest Law Section Awards are given to an attorney, legal worker, and 2 students who have demonstrated a commitment to public interest law. We will begin with the Dan Tschur Outstanding Public Interest Law Attorney Award. This award is presented to an attorney who embodies a lifetime commitment to working in the public interest, is a hard worker with a commitment to volunteerism, and has a selfless commitment to helping others and the community at large. The 2025 recipient of this award is Ellen Pimentel, a staff attorney with the Indian Law Office, Judicare Legal Aid in Wausau. Through her current work at Judicare Legal Aid as a staff attorney and her past work as an attorney with Disability Rights Wisconsin, as a paralegal at Legal Action of Wisconsin, and as a bilingual social worker at the 16th Street Clinic, Attorney Pimentel has dedicated her entire career to ensuring that those in need can access resources to improve their circumstances and obtain life-sustaining public benefits. Please join me in honoring Attorney Pimentel.
First, I want to thank Chief Justice Ann Walsh Bradley. The Chief Justice swore me in as a member of the bar almost 23 years ago, and it's a special honor for me to have her here today. Thank you to Judicare Legal Aid for nominating me and to the Public Interest Law Section for selecting me for this award. Appreciation to my friends, family, and colleagues here with me today, and special appreciation for my husband, Ricardo, who I can always count on for his wise counsel. It also helps that he's a journalist. He edited my speech. I am a self-professed late bloomer. Graduated from college at age 33 and law school at age 45. And if it wasn't for the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program, I thought I'd be dead by the time I paid off my student loans. So thank you to them. Thank you to the taxpayers. After serving at different legal service providers, I landed at Judicare Legal Aid 3.5 years ago. Beth Ann Richland handed me the Tribal Benefits Specialist Program and let me run with it. Thank you to Beth Ann for entrusting me with this important work and allowing me to bloom once more. My biggest thank you goes to the Tribal Benefits Specialists who have welcomed me and taught me so much about their tribal communities. There is a word that you hear often when speaking with tribal elders, and that is resilience. Throughout colonization, removal from their homelands, forced displacement, boarding schools, and all the other policies aimed at eliminating tribes and Native American identity, and literally fighting daily to maintain tribal sovereignty. It is collective resilience that tribes survive and thrive today. In these difficult times, I look to them for lessons in resiliency. Thank you.
The Ryan Klesch Outstanding Public Interest Legal Worker Award honors an individual who captures the essence of Ryan's selflessness, work ethic, and humor in seeking justice for our low-income neighbors, family, and friends. This award is being given posthumously to Rhonda Van Pembroke, who passed away in November 2024. In her 30-plus year career at Legal Action of Wisconsin, Rhonda used her intellect, determination, and warmth to help people obtain and retain public benefits to meet their basic needs for food, shelter, childcare, and health care. Rhonda's legendary work ethic and genuine appreciation of others made her not just an indispensable employee, but a good friend and a colleague to all who knew her. Please join me in honoring Ms. Van Pembroke. Accepting the award on Rhonda's behalf is Attorney Pat DeLacio, a staff attorney at Legal Action of Wisconsin.
So I told myself I wasn't going to cry, but I just might. As an attorney at Legal Action, where I've since retired, for over 30 years I worked with Rhonda. She was always next to me and my right hand. Rhonda came to Legal Action fresh out of college in 1990, and it wasn't until I cleaned out her desk and found her letter offering her the job that I remembered how young she was. And she came to us with a sense of justice and fairness and an unshakable belief in the worth of every human being, regardless of their circumstances. This enabled Rhonda to quickly become a tireless advocate for everyone who came to seek help, for the unhoused, people with disabilities, immigrants, and all others marginalized by society. Rhonda worked beside them, securing the benefits and supports they needed. She was tenacious, and she was armed with good sense and judgment and well-respected in the community. Rhonda was an incredibly upbeat and positive person. Rhonda also treated everyone who came into the office with incredible respect and the dignity that we all deserve, something that I find is often rare. As one client said, "You are a good and understanding person, an extraordinary human being." In addition to working at Legal Action, Rhonda was active in her community, working with MICA, Milwaukee Inner City Congregations Allied for Hope, and true to her roots as a farm girl from Florence, Wisconsin, with community farmers. There is a saying ascribed to an Aboriginal activist that I'd like to share with you that I think embodies Rhonda's life. It goes, "If you have come to help me, you are wasting your time. But if you have come to walk beside me, but if you understand that, I'm sorry, but if you have come because your liberation is bound up with mine, then walk beside me, and we will walk together." And I think Rhonda totally understood this. We weren't there to help people, but to secure liberation and justice and fairness for everyone. With Rhonda's passing, we have lost a tireless and true advocate. On behalf of Rhonda, wherever her spirit might be, her family, who unfortunately could not be here today, and her many friends, some of whom are here, I want to thank you for this overdue and well-deserved recognition.
The Outstanding Public Interest Law Student of the Year is awarded for a demonstrated commitment to working in public interest and a commitment to helping others. The UW Law School recipient is Judith Cusack. Judith's volunteer work at Legal Interventions Transforming Wisconsin's Driver's License Reinstatement Clinics and Legal Action of Wisconsin's Barriers to Employment Clinics reflected her eagerness, compassion, and dedication to serving the community. Judith recently graduated and has plans to start full-time employment with the Brooklyn District Attorney's Office. Please join me in honoring Attorney Cusack.
Hello, everybody. So, as you heard, my name is Judy, and I want to start off with saying that I'm super honored to be here. I'm only about a month into being an attorney, so it's certainly very welcoming to get an award from the State Bar. And I've been doing a lot of stuff within the criminal justice realm. It's really important work to me. I started this off back in high school. I got my associate's degree in criminal justice. And I knew ever since then that I wanted to make a difference in the criminal justice realm. I, as they mentioned, worked with Lyft Wisconsin for a bit, helping people with driver's license recovery, from drunk driving incidents all the way to something like a forfeiture. I also did a lot of work with Legal Action all the way back in Cleveland when I went to Case Western for college, and I did Legal Action while I was here as well, pardon clinics, expungement clinics, things like that, and I know for a fact that I will continue to do that once I go off to New York. I have plans in a couple of months to begin at the Brooklyn District Attorney's Office to be a prosecutor, and it's super exciting for me. Like I said, always knew I wanted to do criminal justice, and it's nice that I get to start off in the Big Apple doing exactly what I would like to do. I also want to take the time to thank my partner, Zane, who's here with me today. He was really my rock throughout law school. As all of you can be aware, law school is fun, but also quite hard, a little difficult, and a lot of hard work goes into it. So it's always nice to have a partner by your side. And I just want to end off with saying that it doesn't pass me over that only 2% of lawyers are Black women. And it's very honorable that this year on Juneteenth, I get to come up here and get this award and represent my community today. So thank you, everybody who played a role in me getting here today, and everyone who's here.
And good luck on taking the bar. For those who have taken a bar, it's no small feat. So, the Marquette Law School recipient is Diego Romero. Diego displays an unwavering dedication to serving and uplifting underserved communities. He volunteers at the Marquette Volunteer Legal Clinic and at the United Community Center. In these programs, Diego's bilingual abilities, professionalism, leadership, and compassion had an invaluable impact on providing effective legal assistance. Please join me in honoring Mr. Romero.
Good evening, everyone. I want to start by thanking the State Bar for this award and for organizing this ceremony. I'm thankful for the opportunity to be here today and be a part of this community of professionals. I'm thankful for the opportunities I've had to serve our great state of Wisconsin through the Marquette Volunteer Legal Clinics and my internships. Last summer, I got to work with migrant farm workers at Legal Action of Wisconsin. It was inspiring to see how much these workers persevered and sacrificed to make a better life for themselves and their families. I'm beyond thankful for everyone that has inspired me, such as my professors, mentors, friends, supervisors, family, and most of all, my parents. My parents have made so many sacrifices for me. They left their home and family in Mexico and brought me into the U.S. when I was 2 years old so I could have better opportunities to grow and prosper. They taught me the value of hard work, determination, and discipline. They taught me to believe in myself and let go of my doubts when I didn't think I could get into law school. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be in the position that I am here today, on my way to becoming the first lawyer in my family next year. Thanks, everybody.
The Wisconsin Association of Legal Administrators, also known as WALA, Award of Excellence honors a current or recent WALA member who had a significant impact on the association. The 2025 recipient of this award is attorney Christopher Shattuck. Attorney Shattuck is currently the program director and legal studies paralegal program instructor at Madison College. Attorney Shattuck joined WALA in 2018 while working as the Practice 411 manager at the State Bar of Wisconsin. One nominator said, Chris joined the WALA and immediately became an engaged, active member. He quickly put all his legal know-how and people skills to work and created an enduring, mutually beneficial relationship between the two organizations. Please join me in recognizing Attorney Shattuck, and I will not drop your award.
It's a lot easier sitting down there and watching people give their speeches than coming up here. But thank you very much for this honor and award here. If you've ever seen a presentation of mine, I normally like to not read off of anything, but I feel compelled to make sure I'm covering all of my things here, so I'll be looking down at my notes here. If you would have told 10-year-old me that one day I would be getting an award from a Wisconsin Association of Legal Administrators in front of a room of attorneys and then also being congratulated by the Chief Justice of the Wisconsin Supreme Court, I would have told you that you were living in the twilight zone. There was no way it was going to happen. One of the things that I've been working on since I started teaching at Madison Area Technical College is that the students who go through that program often have really challenging life things that they're working through. And I want to be transparent about that to them to help encourage them. And one of the very few people don't know this about me, but when I grew up in extreme poverty situations. Sometimes our family would have enough money for food, and other times we had to rely upon churches and sometimes even complete strangers to drop food off at us to help us eat and make it through. That food helped me study and stay dedicated to education, which is something that I prided myself on. As I worked my way through undergrad, law school, and then receiving my MBA, I also found myself needing help again. I needed help from the legal profession to understand what it took to be a great lawyer and to be a great colleague and friend. So I do want to take this time to specifically name and thank those who have helped me out along the way. Thank you to current State Bar President for the next 11 days, Ryan Billings, and Conor Manning-Kalis for providing me the environment to advance my litigation skills. I also want to thank the State Bar of Wisconsin for taking a chance on me as the Law Practice Assistance Manager, and specifically Larry Martin for all the knowledge and mentoring he provided, especially on all those long road trips we took across the state of Wisconsin. I specifically also want to thank Tim Pierce, Aviva Kaiser, and Dean Dietrich for being really patient with me about all my ethical questions that I had and helping educate me along the way. And also I want to thank my family, some of whom are here today. Beth and Mark Benton, thank you very much for your love and support and patience and always being there for me. I also like to thank WALA for this honor. So if you haven't heard of WALA before, we are a community of office administrators, operations leaders, HR professionals, and law firm managers. We support one another through education, conferences, and the kind of everyday problem solving that requires a group mind and thought. In closing, I'd like you all to encourage, especially in this current environment that we're living in, to keep in mind that we have more in common than the things that are used to try to divide us. You never know the extent to which your generosity and kindness can help someone and make an impact on someone else's life, and I certainly wouldn't be here today without everyone's support. So thank you very much. I appreciate it all.
The Non-Resident Lawyers Division Founders Award recognizes a non-resident member who has brought positive change to the division and has actively participated in State Bar activities for many years. This year's recipient is attorney Kenna Okocha. Sorry, I practiced it and I even worked with him with it, and I'm so sorry. Okocha. Attorney Okocha is a senior assistant U.S. attorney who served for 12 years at the U.S. Attorney's Office in the District of Columbia. As the deputy chief of the Sex Offense and Domestic Violence Section, he oversees and trains attorneys prosecuting critical cases involving sexual abuse and domestic violence. Attorney Okocha is being recognized for his outstanding contributions to the field of law, his unwavering commitment to justice, and his profound impact on both his community and colleagues throughout the NRLD. He has served as both president and a board member of the NRLD and is very active in the division's Washington, D.C. chapter. Please join me in honoring Attorney Okocha.
right, good evening, everybody. So before I start, I'm a federal prosecutor, so I have to give my standard disclaimer that the statements I'm providing today are my own and don't necessarily represent that of the U.S. Attorney's Office. I'm here in my personal capacity, okay, everybody? All right. So I just want to say a big thank you to the Wisconsin State Bar and the Non-Residence Lawyers Division for this award. It's been my pleasure and my honor to work with you all to serve attorneys that are barred in Wisconsin but live outside of the state. I next want to thank everybody who has come out here to support me today. I want to thank the Honorable Brian Blanchard, who gave me my first job in prosecution and has been a great supporter of mine, both inside the office, giving me great projects, and outside as my career has continued to grow. I want to thank the Honorable Nia Anamwa Trammell, who is probably the person who supported me the earliest out of anybody here. She actually babysat me when I was growing up in Eagle Heights, but is actually a standout member of the Nigerian community here in Madison, was a trailblazer as a lawyer and a great role model, and always there to give me advice. I want to thank Professor Ben Kempinen, who has introduced me to prosecution and showed me its power for good. ADA Barbara Franks, who was a mentor of mine when I was at the DA's office in Madison, Wisconsin here. My friends and colleagues, my law school classmates, Sam Rickers and Lanny Glinberg, thank you for coming out today. And my friends for decades, Zach Stewart and Joe Maldonado, my groomsmen, they came out today to help support me. I appreciate that. Thank you for coming out today and for your support, both personally and professionally. So I also want to thank some people who aren't here today. Unfortunately, my family couldn't make it. My beautiful wife, Cherry, she is my rock. She is the reason why I'm able to do these types of work for the lawyers here in Wisconsin. My beautiful wife, Cherry, and she is able to just hold me down and help me. One of the great things she does is help me with my kids, my 4-year-old and 6-year-old, who are my heart and my purpose, and the reason that I get up and work every day. So before I close and leave, I want to talk a little bit about service and leadership, just because that's what I got this award for. I want to talk about a little bit about me, my legal background. So what I do, my entire career has been in public service. And when I get free time, I often do work like this for organizations that have helped me, helping out with the bar, helping out with my church. As an alumni of my university and my fraternity, I've done that type of work. And it's always been something that's very natural to me to do that type of service. And sometimes I wonder where I got it from, but it's very clear. And the last people I want to thank are the people who gave me that drive to do service, my parents. And I want to share a little bit about their story, because it's a great story of sacrifice and service. So my parents, they immigrated to the United States from Nigeria. They did so after surviving a really awful war, a brutal massacre in their hometown where my mom lost her brother and my dad lost his father. But they didn't wallow in their loss, right? They came to this country, the country welcomed them, and they came here. They got their PhDs down the street at the University of Wisconsin. They did that while raising me and my 3 sisters, and then they moved to Whitewater, Wisconsin, and they began their long, multi-decade career of service as public educators. They have educated many of Wisconsin's guidance counselors and social workers, nurses and EMTs in the basics. And in addition to that public service, they helped out in their community, they helped out in my schools, they helped out in their church, not just on Sundays, but they were one of those couples that helped new engaged couples learn how to be good husbands and good wives. They're just great overall people, and I've been so fortunate to have them as a representation of what good service and good leadership is. So I want to dedicate that award to them, and I want to thank everybody here today. Thank you.
The Grant F. Langley Service Award is presented by the Government Lawyers Division and is presented to an attorney who is a member of the State Bar of Wisconsin Government Lawyers Division with at least 5 years of service as a government lawyer. It pays tribute to a government attorney working to increase the public's respect for government lawyers while promoting government legal work as a rewarding career choice. Attorney James Griffin is this year's award recipient. Attorney Griffin recently retired from the Milwaukee County District Attorney's Office after a long and successful career as a prosecutor. He was widely regarded as an exceptional litigator and for his integrity, respect, and candor. He has exemplified kindness, respect, experience, and integrity beyond his own personal reach and through the lawyers he has guided. Please join me in honoring Attorney Griffin.
Thank you very much. To everybody, I have to follow the story that was like, oh my God, that man's story is just beautiful. And it led him to prosecution, which is what I did. I know there was the one Judy that spoke as well. That's 1 month as a prosecutor. I thought, oh my God, 1 month. I don't think I knew where the men's room was at the DA's office after a month. And then 30-some years go by, and I'm standing up here because Nick wrote a letter to the bar, and Jessica Ballinger, I think they were in on it. They wrote a really beautiful letter about the effect that they felt I'd had on their lives. I don't know what they're talking about exactly. But the couple things I've learned here tonight are, you hear those lawyer jokes, and they're always bad. I mean, lawyers are dirty. And you come here and you go, they're really good. There are a lot of good lawyers, a lot of them. And people who are working hard every day. Prosecutors, PDs, people who are non-lawyers, who are trying to help people out. And the second thing I realized is nobody gets here alone. Nobody. Whether it's your parents, your wife, your brothers, your sisters, your friends, your colleagues, everybody gets here because of somebody else. And when Nick wrote in his letter that I'd helped him, it really was very moving. And all the people, he's a loudmouth from Milwaukee, all of them were this notion that I mentored them. We just kind of hung out and talked, and they had questions, and I'd been there longer and things like that. But the friendships are just so rewarding in the context of work. Prosecution can get a bad name sometimes, but I think some people know it's a good line of work if you have the right focus. When I started, we didn't do treatment courts. That all came later. That kind of deferred prosecution, it's lawyers helping people get their licenses. This all came later. And it's a much different job today. And it was great for me. I loved it almost all the time. And the people that you meet, that's what I think you see here in this room tonight. And of course, like everybody else, my wife, I said who was the judge that cried? I said, I'm not going to cry, that guy, what is it? And you realize, oh yeah, and then it gets you. And my son, Carlos, it's been a great ride. And these guys we're not just great colleagues, great friends. And I appreciate this very, very much. And thank you to the bar. Take care.
The Senior Lawyers Division annually presents the Leonard Loeb Award. The award recognizes the work of a senior lawyer who has made significant contributions to the legal community, has shown respect for the legal system, and has demonstrated a love for the law and what it seeks to accomplish. This year's recipient is Attorney Dean Dietrich. Attorney Dietrich has contributed to the advancement of the legal profession and supported fellow lawyers in their professional development by prioritizing civility and professionalism, promoting the importance of lawyer well-being, and developing an abundance of educational programming. In his involvement with the State Bar, he has served not only on various committees and division boards, but also as a State Bar president and is just completing his year as immediate past president. Attorney Dietrich has consistently demonstrated admirable principles and integrity, earning the respect of colleagues and clients alike. Please join me in honoring Attorney Dietrich.
Heard a lot of wonderful things said by a lot of very important and worthy people this evening. I want to thank the Senior Lawyers Division for this recognition. I want to thank the State Bar of Wisconsin. I want to thank all the lawyers in the state of Wisconsin for everything they do, everything that we've heard about tonight, and everything we've seen and know about how lawyers help people. But it's time for me to not say anything more, but to honor Judge. You know, it would have worked a lot better if you hadn't started this out. My wife is what allowed me and who allowed me to do everything that I've been able to do throughout my career and my continuing career. And she gets tired sometimes of coming to these events. But she needs to know how much I honor her, appreciate her support, appreciate the care she showed to my children, my family, her family throughout many, many years. So a special thank you to her for everything she's done to allow me to be someone that could use my law license to help others. So thank you, hon. Thank you very much.
The Outstanding Young Lawyer Award, given by the Young Lawyers Division, pays tribute to a young lawyer who has made an impact in his or her practice area, in service to the State Bar of Wisconsin, and in service to the community. The Outstanding Young Lawyer Award recipient is Attorney J.J. Moore. Since graduating in 2018, Attorney Moore has focused on public interest law, culminating service as staff attorney for Legal Action of Wisconsin. Outside of his job at Legal Action, Attorney Moore continuously volunteers on a weekly basis at the Marquette Volunteer Legal Clinic and ABA Free Legal Answers to provide brief legal advice on a variety of topics. He previously served as a director of the Young Lawyers Division, serving the division in the State Bar. Please join me in honoring Attorney J.J. Moore.
I'm not one for recognition very much because I feel like you do your job and that's what you're supposed to do. But I describe myself as a jack of all trades, master of none. I like to jump in and do a lot of different weird things, and I am lucky that my supervisor, Maggie Niebler Brown, allows me to jump in and do a lot of weird things. I appreciate my mentor, Mary Verwater, for allowing me to run the mobile legal clinic while I was still in law school and set me down the path that I'm currently in. I am truly grateful for my wife for traveling with me from Texas to Wisconsin, Wisconsin to Massachusetts, Massachusetts back to Wisconsin to follow my career and to pursue this career. And I would, and for my son who enjoys firing me on a daily basis, so that's always a good stabilizing thing for me. And finally, for my mother who instilled a work ethic that she always said, when you leave your job or when you move on to a new job, make sure that they have to replace you with 4 people. And I take that with me every day when I go into work or when I volunteer. And I hope people take the chance to volunteer, take some time. You can make a huge difference in someone's lives, even if it's outside your comfort zone. And thank you so much.
The Outstanding Mentor Award, also given by the Young Lawyers Division, is designed to recognize a Wisconsin attorney who has made an exceptional contribution to the life and career of a young attorney. This year's Outstanding Mentor is attorney Mary Ferrorda. Attorney Ferrorda is a former executive director of the Milwaukee Justice Center and current chief deputy clerk of Milwaukee Circuit Court. What makes Attorney Ferrorda a fantastic mentor is her ability to connect with people. It is because of her vision, dedication, and mentorship of countless law students and attorneys that pro bono in Milwaukee flourishes. Please join me in honoring Attorney Ferrorda.
Hello. I know that I stand between you and dinner or more drinks, so I will be as quick as I can. Tonight, if everything works the way we wanted it, what would be happening right now would be a montage of everyone who thanked a mentor tonight. And it like that happens after the Oscars or at the one shining moment at the NCAA tournament. What that says to me is mentorship is important. It makes an impact in our profession. It moves our profession forward. It makes us better lawyers. It makes us better as a state bar. I encourage you all to become a mentor. I am thankful for my mentors every single day. Mentorship doesn't end. None of them are here tonight, so I'm not going to call them out in person. They won't know. For those of you, for the young lawyers in the room, first of all, thank you very much for this honor. This is so very special to me. I've had about 30 years of working with young people in a variety of careers, and it has just made a difference. They keep me young. I know what music's happening. I know the latest slang, and it makes me feel like I'm not so as old as I am. If you're seeking mentorship, I encourage you to follow the advice of ABA President Michelle Banky at the Young Lawyers Division Conference, who said in response to a question of, well, how do I get a mentor? Or how do I talk to you? Just go talk to someone you want to meet because they want to talk to you too. Thank you very much for this evening. I encourage you all to, again, thank your mentors. And if you were thanked tonight, I also thank you because, again, we move our profession forward. And that's all I'm going to say because you're hungry and want to go. I appreciate you all. Thank you.
Now I'm the one standing between you and drinks and dinner, so I'll be quick. Can we just one more time give a round of applause for all of our award recipients tonight? I also want to thank all of our guests who have come to support those honored this evening. We appreciate you joining us for tonight's recognition celebration. And thank you for tolerating me as your MC tonight. I really appreciate it. And again, one last round of applause and have a great evening.